Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Prepress Innovation webinar. I'm Frank Woltering. I'm Product Manager for ESCO at ESCO for Graphic Editing Solutions. My previous background is rotogravure prepress. I've worked in the gravure industry for about 15 years and started working at ESCO in 2005. Welcome again in my living room here in Belgium. I'm joined here by my colleague and friend Martin, who is connected from the UK.
Thank you, Frank. Yep, connected from sunny Leicester within the UK. A bit about me, 3 years within ESCO. I have a technical role assisting our global key accounts with their own exciting ESCO journey. 23 years experience in the converting world, working for big players in the label and the folding carton industry, various prepress roles, reprographics operator, reprographics manager, and of course using the ESCO tools to drive our own innovation journey. It's a bit about me.
Okay, so this is one session of a series of 4 in the areas of prepress innovation that are already available to you or will become available with the version 20 release of the ESCO software platform in June. So in the next 30 to 40 minutes, we would like to talk about errors, waste, and of course, how to prevent them. Like many of our colleagues at ESCO, Martin and I have been working in production, and we know the pain of a faulty print and the call from an upset customer. What I would like to mention already is our introduction to the ESCO Innovation Hub on May 26th at 4 p.m., where we will show you a new platform from ESCO where you can log on and explore the latest and greatest innovations that we have.
And if we nudge the slides over, Frank, thank you. Some general information around this webinar. The only people that can make a noise on this webinar is myself and Frank. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, to be honest, but everyone else is muted. If you would like to ask some questions during or afterwards, please use the question tab on the right-hand side of your screen there. We'll try to answer all your questions right after or during the last part of the presentation. And if we can't answer those, then we'll definitely get back to you with each and every one of you with the answers. Also to note, the webinar is being recorded. Everyone who registered will be receiving an email with a link to the recording after the webinar. And if you have any bumps or issues along the way, it's usually a good idea to refresh your browser, which should resolve the issue. Thank you very much.
Okay, talking about errors and waste, let's go a bit back. This is a shopping environment as we traditionally know it. It's a 99-cent store in Los Angeles. It's photographed by a German photographer, Andreas Gursky, in 1999. This is the place where brands exercise the last opportunity to connect to the consumers through the packaging via the shop shelves. Some call this the 0 moment of truth. This is a picture from the same photographer, Andreas Gursky, taken in 2016. What we see here is the Amazon distribution center in Phoenix, Arizona. And it clearly shows our movement from a brick and mortar shopping environment to more and more going online, which of course is a very different buying experience. We, as a consumer, generate a very different expectation when it comes to product selection. We expect a great and very engaging consumer experience, and we expect that consumer experience to happen right now. And still, to do a label change, it takes our industry approximately 6 months. Think about this connecting with the now. More and better information on packaging is also very important right now. Think about allergies. You don't want to know precisely what the ingredients are that you eat. And a consistent product appearance, of course, no matter if you purchase online or you purchase from the shelf. So brands sell no longer to only the conventional or only the digital world. It's both. And this very corona crisis we're in right now may have even accelerated the balancing of those two worlds. The consistency is, of course, mandatory if you talk about an omni-channel campaign. So to stay successful, brands want and need to respond faster to changes in the consumer taste, which of course is very tied to the decrease in lead time within the packaging value chain. Even though digital printing is gaining share from the conventional printing business, the growth in conventional is strong too. This is a recent study from Pyra with a target on the future of digital print for packaging, but it clearly shows that the growth is not only in the digital part, also in the conventional one. But there are other drivers for packaging updates. For example, the changes in legislation and regulation. This is the main driver for many changes the next 12 to 24 months in the area of pharma and food and beverages. For example, more attractive artwork is only on position number 3 if we look into the food and beverages. Most important is changes due to new regulations. As a result, from those different drivers, there's an enormous demand for artwork creation and updates. More and urgent pre-press work to get the updated packaging printed. Today, every artwork somehow is touched by a human being. And of course, everybody is doing the best possible to deliver faultless work, but Martin found evidence that this is not always the case.
Thank you, Frank. Let's take a look at some of these examples. Some of these spelling errors that made it to the marketplace. Unfortunately, this item produced, they're having to sell at a low-cost price. This example kind of speaks for itself on this slide. But moving to the next one, Frank, some very costly examples. Some very costly examples of mass-produced products that made it to the shelf. On the right, we have sliming something there, which doesn't make too much sense at all. In the center, we have a headest and digitile there. And we're always ready to take a shot in the center there. So these are some maybe slightly comical, but very costly items that make it through to the shelf. We have the classic placeholders here, the classic placeholder mistake. On the left, we've got folding aluminium table and, of course, Spanish here. So we needed to be placing in there the Spanish text for folding aluminium table. We've got the lorem ipsum, which is the illustrated standard for filling a text box, and that has been left in on some of the other examples of the packaging here. Moving on to the next one. It's not a spelling this time, but maybe there's been a miscommunication between the artwork and the CAD department. Are these departments talking to each other? Was there a rush job or a QC step skipped due to a fast track order? Who knows? But this is the result here. There was for sure some miscommunication going on between these departments on these examples. And it may seem slightly hilarious, but to be honest, let's imagine that you're a brand owner of this product and you see this ending up on your shelf. It's not a funny story at all. So is it funny? Probably not. When we get into the world of product recalls, and we get into the world of reprints, the funniness kind of disappears out of the window when you're responsible for these prints, and also the humor totally disappears out of the window when things start to get very, very serious. We can start talking about the contents of pharmaceutical packaging, and the real threat to human life becomes very real, as we can see illustrated here in the dosage of the tablets. How do these errors happen? This slide is a survey of a global leader in the market that helps us put some numbers behind these errors. Back in 2017, we did a survey across this fast-moving consumer group, and we found out that everything from technical drawings to the artwork execution contained a series of errors, mostly based around the copy there. We can see that 58% of the errors came from the copy. This can be from typing in the copy, this can be stripping copy from a Word document, or copy coming from external systems. But that's where a lot of the errors are happening. And what we can see on the increase, there were 60,000 artwork changes to packs in 2010 produced by this company, and we have a 30% increase in 2018 to 80,000 artwork changes or touch points to a particular piece of artwork. So that kind of tells us that the more times we touch the artwork, the more chances that we've got to create these errors, and the more chance we got an error to get to the shelf. So some numbers behind the reasons there.
Of course, there are 1,001 reasons why something can go wrong when preparing jobs for printing or printing them. We've tried to categorize them a bit, and we found 4 main areas. The first one is the what. Everything related to the content that needs to go onto the packaging. It's like the ingredients to a recipe. Did I put everything onto the artwork correctly? Is the correct statement in there? No spelling mistakes? So all these are issues that can be created or done wrong when placing content. But the regulations on how to present content are increasingly important. Consumer protection is key, and the regulatory instances enforce compliant display of information. Think of the American or Canadian nutrition fact table, or the pictorial health warnings on tobacco packaging. The third dimension would be the how. Yeah, the content may be perfectly composed, but tuning it to fit the print specifications may have gone wrong. Missing traps, for example, or wrong colors, or maybe the correct code, but not produced with the right properties, and so not readable on the packaging. And the last but not least, the fourth dimension is where it all comes together. The print specification, the step and repeat step specifications, the color management. So printing, this is where the money is on the sheet or on the web.
Okay, so the mission, our mission in ESCO is to help the customers to make the best packaging for the billions and billions of consumers making these decisions out there. So the vision, we want to simplify how we create the correct packaging. We want to lead the industry by giving you, the users, the best and easiest tools to work with. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on, Frank, if we can.
Yep. Okay. So let's move on the first. That's the packaging content, and I believe you have prepared a demonstration for that, Martin.
Yeah.
So
if we can take the introductory slides next, Frank, I'm quite happy to move on. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So we've teamed up with the Global Vision guys, and just a quick point about Global Vision. These guys are the industry leaders in offline and inline inspection systems. Very big in the pharmaceutical world when it comes to accreditations and audits. This is where it really happens. So we've fully integrated Global Vision into our automation engine workflows, if you like, or automation engine software. And how does this work? With a brief explanation of the... We can go back, Frank.
Sure. Sorry.
It's no problem. I can talk much faster if you want me to. So just, sorry guys, a quick explanation of the artwork timeline. When we're creating copy, if we were requesting changes or creating proofs or creating some production jobs, we can inspect the copy or the changes or the proofs at every point along this artwork life cycle, if you like. We can create the copy and the text inspection. The artwork inspection stage, we can do some text checking the braille or the barcodes, and the print inspection creates the inspection on press and can fire this information back down the automation engine workflow up to a web center and back to our brand. And next, so what we can see here is an example of how we can take Global Vision from its original offline environment and we can fully integrate it into our automation engine workflows. We can make it 100% customizable so we can check what we want, when we want, and have our checks as automated as we wish. So yes, Frank, you're correct. I've just got some media so we can take a look at that. So we're going to go into an automation engine workflow and take a look at how we're going to check this artwork. So we've got our individual tickets there for the automation engine, and we go into our main ticket and we can see how we implement each check within the automation engine automated workflow. This will collect the report and give us some reports at the end. So if I can keep up with this, here we're looking at the different parameters here. So the parameters for this is spell checking, text compare, inspect barcodes, inspect the braille, and inspect the artwork. So we can turn these parameters off and on depending on which pieces of artwork that we want to check. So for this one, we want to check the barcode, we want to check the braille, and of course, we want to inspect the artwork. We run the artwork down the workflow, which should give us all three checks and gives us a report. So we can take a look at the report here. We get an overview automation engine report, first of all, which gives us a quick look at the barcode. For example, it gives us what type of barcode, the value of the barcode, the magnification, and the bar width reduction. So it's a very quick automation engine overview check in here. Also, we can take a look at the braille text there. It tells us the language, the translation, and what it actually says when read out. Lumi, digital, and sports band there. Okay. Staying within the automation engine report, we want to see the compare, maybe between two versions. So we can see this Bluetooth, the man there, and also the recycling logo. There's some text discrepancies within there as well. Moving down, there's some more text and there's some orange border. So there's some discrepancies within the artwork there and some line type styles there that has changed. But if we want to go even deeper into our Global Vision report, there is a second report in here, which we can see the grade of the barcode. And if we really want to, excuse me, we can take a look into the barcode reflection, the magnification, the symbol contrast, the grades of the barcodes, and everything that creates a good grade A, maybe pharmaceutical barcode at this point in time. Okay. Just carry on down. And of course, we can look at the version to version control artwork inspection here. It tells us that there's 8 differences within this piece of artwork. and we look at the more of a detailed report. It's telling us the master and the sample, and we can actually start to accept or reject these discrepancies within the artwork. A very, very detailed report around the patterns and the maybe the boundaries that put in and profiles. Moving along very quickly to the detailed barcode report here. The Braille, it's all about regulations, dot sizes, dot spaces, which gives us a very detailed Braille report. Very quick, if I can just manage to keep up with this, we can start to inspect a text inspection here. So we want to do a text compare. We can pick up a document. We can open up in Acrobat. We can see the text of this document. This is the text that's going to be pasted into a new artwork. And this is the PDF of the text. Okay, we don't want to save this. And we're going to compare it against our new piece of artwork that we've created. So we want to check the spelling on this one, and we want to inspect the text. Again, we turn everything else off, and we launch the file down the workflow. This gives us another report. Again, we're getting an automation engine report, and we're getting a global vision report. Again, this is telling us that there's I think there's 26 spelling discrepancies in this report. So it's saying, hey, we're looking at our dictionary and we think that you may have spelt this wrong. We're picking out each and every one of these spelling discrepancies along here, so we can overview the report there. And also, if we move on, we can see that we want to show the text compare annotations as well in this report. So we can actually check the copy to the newly created artwork, and it will tell us the text differences, the styles, sorry, the weights of the text there, and give us each and every one of the text discrepancies that it picks out along the way there. Okay, very good, excellent. Okay, moving on to the more detailed global vision reports here, which again, we always get two reports. We can see that it's masked off the areas where the discrepancies are, and we're going to even more detail now about the type cases. I think on this one there's 4 type cases that we've got a discrepancy against, and there's a type change there as well. So we can see that there's some typos there, text discrepancies. I'm going to stop this there. I think we've seen enough about reports and global vision reports. I'm going to hand this back over to Frank.
Okay, thank you very much. So as stated in the beginning, the second dimension, the regulations, so the correct display of content. And let's take the nutrition fact tables as an example. They are very and highly regulated by the FDA in the States and in Canada. The specification document is about 132 pages long. Yeah, so not easy to read, and definitely a challenge for the artwork creation community to follow it by the rule. But they have to, otherwise there is a risk that products are redrawn from the shelves. So the recent updates that we see here on the right side also illustrates the impact of the regulatory changes on the packaging artwork, meaning it is not a specification that is put in place once. No, there are frequent changes to that. So constantly packaging designs and packaging artwork needs to be updated. So we see here the previous version of the nutrition fact table compared to the new version. It has a different layout. It has different rules. The areas where certain values go are different, and their display is different. So only replacing a nutrition fact table of the old style with a new one will would create a lot of artwork changes, meaning I have to redraw those objects, draw a box, draw those different strokes, reorganize everything, and everything needs to be compliant to the rules. So I would like to give you a short demonstration about the nutrition fact table functionality that we have at ESCO. And let's have a look here. This is a packaging artwork file in Adobe Illustrator. It has a nutrition fact table manually assembled by drawing lines and boxes and adding text to it, which I need to update to the latest standard. When I bring up the Dynamic Tables dialog, I'm getting an overview of the types and standards of the American and Canadian nutrition fact table. I can use the extract feature and the tool will recognize the text data of the manual table and copy the values into the Dynamic Table dialog. I can now choose from the different types and layout standards. Let me select the latest. When I hit OK, a new table is created. It is showing the same nutrition data, but placed correctly in the new layout. The regulation now demands additional mandatory information to be shown in the table. For instance, the vitamin D content. I simply add this information to the table properties and apply them. The table gets updated following the 132 pages of layout rules. All that's left to do is to copy the new table into place. Instead of converting a static handmade table into a dynamic table, the tool can also receive standardized nutrition fact table information from content management systems. Here I'm in Web Center, working on a packaging update project. In my role, I am responsible for the correct copy and statements on the packaging. I want to ensure that I have no trouble at a later stage because data got misplaced or got lost during emailing and copy and paste. Here in Web Center, I'm able to bring the data into the nutrition fact table myself, preview it and have it approved by other stakeholders. Then I can export it to a standard GS1 XML file and save it to the project. Back in the role of an artwork creator using Illustrator, I can log on to Web Center as well and locate the project with the nutrition fact table data file. I can download it to my system and link it to the dynamic table in my design file. The data gets updated and is from now on locked, only listening to the XML file. I'm still expecting an update of the included sugar values. As the responsible for the copy on the packaging, I'm back in the project. I'm updating the sugar values of the nutrition fact table, save the changes, and export them back into the new version of the table data file. The system notices the updated version and informs the artworker about it. He's getting additional information about the update and can accept the changes. As a result, the table gets updated and the risk of wrongly copy or pasting the data is completely gone. Okay, so we saw how we have tools that help us to display content in a compliant way. Let's move to the third area, which is the how. So the correct properties of digital graphics. We print PDF. So the graphics are various objects or object types that have properties. A stroke has a width, or an image has a resolution. A layer has a name. So these properties can be right or wrong depending on the purpose of the document. But we can use software checking those properties for us, so we don't miss out on fixing them or bring in an error when trying to improve them. So let's have a look at the pre-flight functionality. Need to switch between applications here. Just give me a moment. Okay, so here I am in an automation engine. I have a packaging job to update and to make it print ready. It's located in a job that has some more information and a connection to my ERP or MIS system. When opening the job in RPro Plus, the first thing I realize is that I have an error message related to a barcode. There is a barcode in the job, but this is actually only bars and numbers. It's not a real barcode. So it may have been created by a third-party application. I can convert this barcode to an ESCO barcode that does have barcode properties, just like, for example, the type, the number, or bar width reduction. Still, I'm having this error, even though it now is a barcode object, but the information for my job here has to come from my MIS system. So I can link the barcode directly to the order entry system or my business system, and it regulates and sets the bar width reduction and resolution. Okay, let me go in and run a pre-flight. I've created a kind of checklist, a digital report or a digital profile is examining all properties of the objects here in my file. For example, when clicking on such a violation, I see objects that have been white in overprint. So the designer may have seen it in white, but the PDF shows it in overprint, and I can easily fix this by just changing the overprint flag. Here we have an image in a low resolution, and the next violation is related to the width of strokes, so the thickness of lines, which need to be at minimum 0.15 millimeter for my printing process. Again, I can simply select the violation and fix the wrong property only of those objects. Then I have also the possibility of global PDF checks, for example, setting the right creator. Here we have some images that have been downsampled, and I make sure that this is removed from the Illustrator stream. I can take my profile that I'm using here in RPro Plus and copy it to the server. So from there on, I can use that profile in the workflow. So I don't even have to open my file in an application. I can simply run this pre-flight task on incoming files. I configured to get a report here, which I'm opening up in RPro Plus here as well. And I can, even without accessing any application, already get the weaknesses of the delivered artwork. And last but not least, the same technology is available for Adobe Illustrator. So I can load the very same profile here into Adobe Illustrator and run the same check right in the artwork creation phase. So I could receive a profile from a printer and already make sure in the artwork stage that I'm preparing the file in the right way. Also here I get and now we see it, white appearing objects, but they're not but they're in overprint. The same violations on the line width and image resolution. So this shows us how the pre-flight can help us to check the properties of the content that we want to reproduce. Let's move on with Martin.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, so all coming together, correct setup and print. So if we're bringing everything together, if we can take us to the next slide, please, Frank. I just want to introduce and talk to a little bit about AVT and ESCO. AVT is a sister company within the ESCO family now. We're owned by the same parent company, and AVT specialize in press and inline inspection systems. So what we've created between ESCO and AVT is now a pre-press to press and inline inspection system. So we've cleverly connected our automation engine with AVT to be able to define different areas for inspection when we're inspecting on the press. So let's take a little look at the AVT inspection system. Obviously, this is a set of labels on a flexo press running with an AVT inspection system. If we're going into Adobe Illustrator to start setting up these inspection areas, we can start to use our inspection setup AVT inspector palette and start to maybe take some different areas that we want to inspect on press and define these different areas. We can set the color targets, we can preset the inspection areas within the file, which means that we only have to check the defined areas. So we've defined the areas within our Adobe Illustrator, taking it through now to a step and repeat, which holds all that data, and we release it into an automation engine workflow. So it launches the inspection workflow. The automation engine collects up all the relevant data and sends it to the AVT inspection system on press, such as the die information, the job information, the job ID, the areas of interest, which takes us to our AVT inspection system on press, where we can automatically select that profile being sent to us by automation engine. So it saves us around 5 minutes setup for each label run, if you like. And then we're automatically detecting the approved PDF to find a good quality sample on press, and we can just use the AVT inspection system to compare this while we're on press. So the inspection starts, the auto set reduces the setup time to 0 on press, because we're already defining these areas in Illustrator and sending these areas through automation engine, setting the sensitivity of the areas and reflection and whatnot. So that's a little bit about AVT and how we've teamed up with AVT. It kind of brings us to the end of our presentation, and I think we should move on to a Q&A session now. So feel free to fire your questions over to us.
Yeah, you can use, as we stated, the question tab on the right side of your browser if you have any questions to anything that you've seen of that we've tried to explain. I see that my colleague also pushed a poll towards you. So that's just a small question about how you like the content and if you want to have more information about it. I had one question already earlier. Somebody asking for the URL to the Innovation Hub introduction that I mentioned in the beginning. So let me quickly pull this up again. So that's the, as I said, the show on May 26th, where we introduced the new portal. And the meanwhile, I got another question from Ryan about what the latest version of R Pro now. So I've shown R Pro Plus. So I believe you're referring to R Pro Plus, which is or will be released in its version 20 end of June. And of course, with a whole series of new innovations and new tools in it. There's a question about somebody who entered late, asking, okay, colleague Ilse is already replying, asking if he can get a recording. Of course, we will distribute recordings of this session.
Everyone who registers will receive a recording.
Oh, Ilse also pushed out the link to the Innovation Hub. Thank you.
Excellent.
Ilse. Okay, not many more questions. Then we would like to thank you for listening and hope to see you in one of the next webinars. We have another one in
One more,
June
Frank?
about. Oh yeah, okay.
We're using up protein.
Yeah, and same person asking about the versions of R Pro and R Pro Plus. Wondering if I recommend to use R Pro Plus. Yes, absolutely. We're putting all our efforts in creating a much better application for packaging pre-press that not only helps you to do your job, but to do it safely. And of course, natively working on native PDF without the need of any conversion. So yes, please stay tuned and definitely see us also showing R Pro Plus during the ENSCO Innovation Hub on May 26th.
And also, Frank, just to chip in, another reason to use R Pro Plus is now the industry is calling for PDF, a PDF workflow, PDF in and PDF out. So, you know, this is the industry that's telling us now to start working and using PDF. So
yeah,
R Pro Plus all the way.
We gave brilliant samples for this also in this webinar. We saw a pit stop pre-flight working on the PDF inside R Pro Plus. We saw the Global Vision task taking that very same PDF and analyzing it. Yes, so that's the advantage of using a standardized file format.
Yeah.
There will also be questions that we can't answer because we are not always the subject matter experts, but please be assured that we will answer your question that you bring in case we can't answer them right now. What is the R Pro Plus licensing policy? We've extended the current policy of our editors in R Pro Plus, so you can have R Pro Plus not only licensed as a perpetual or permanent computer locked license, you can also purchase it as a subscription. We call it a named user subscription, where the software is registered to your name and you can run it from anywhere. The future of package in R Pro, yeah, let me take that question as well. It is the same people that develop R Pro Plus who also take care about R Pro and package. So it's the long-time programmers with a lot of packaging know-how and experience that now work on R Pro Plus. That's the focus. So of course we will have R Pro and package in a kind of maintenance mode. We've just, or last year, released a 64-bit version of R Pro. We're making sure that package and Plato run on the latest operating systems, but new functionality will move into R Pro Plus. Is Automation Engine available as SaaS? Another good reason to visit us on May 26th. That's all I want to say on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
excellent questions.
Various questions.
Great questions
from all areas. Yeah. Thanks a lot for those. And yeah, hope to see you back face to face, not only in a webinar, so we can talk and chat about everything. Stay safe and healthy. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.